All right, I think it's working, but I'm probably going to need to share my screen so that we can see your screen. All right, let's give this a try, see how it works. So go ahead and let's say I'm your future customer and or a future employer, and go ahead and give me a background of your portfolio and you a little bit. So let's go ahead and go there.
Okay. Well, Mr. Brown, I'm a graphic designer who focuses on branding solutions, and what that means is that I assist business owners in creating or promoting an image for their business through various products such as stationery, business cards, logo designs, any type of print and or web site layouts, or for websites, etc. And so a lot of that requires that myself and the business owner first focus on the business, and I do some research regarding your customer and the direction you want to go, and try to develop some things that can help you to achieve your goals through the graphic design process. And so this is my online portfolio. I operate as an independent businessman under Newfound Studio, and I'd like to show you some of my work, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm interested. Let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
So I'll step out in and out of context here, character. So
All right.
I thought that was an excellent introduction.
And I want you to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thought that was an excellent introduction and very well thought out. I thought it was comprehensive, that you hit a lot of different points. It was obvious that you put some thought into that, and it was very good that you were discussing the need to connect with the customer and to do some planning with them. So let's start with that as a good introduction, and now let's just be a little philosophical here for a second, and let's say you were to put it over to me, making this a conversation. And so after that introduction, can you give me an idea of a question that would be most interesting to you to know about me after your introduction? What would be the first?
About you as a business owner, or about your business?
Either one.
Okay. Well, Mr. Brown, I'd like for you, first of all, because I already know you have some interest in talking to me about what we could maybe do to promote your business or your business image. Can you tell me what drove you to this point? In other words, is there a specific outcome you're looking for? Is there something specific you're trying to accomplish in the way of an image or perception in the marketplace that you want to try to build upon or change? Is there something about your business, if you could, what would that be that you would change given the chance, or improve upon? Is there anything specific?
Okay, good. That gives me a good idea. Let me step out of character here for a second. That gives me a good idea of what interests you about me. And I think it's a good question because it weaves in with your introduction, which was great. And you're jumping right to the question of, what is your need, what's regarding branding. And so that's good. So let's just think about that for just a second. There is a possibility. Let's change the scenario for just a second. And let's say I have already given you, let's say, my existing website and pointed out my logo. Let's just say that you'd already been given that. Now what would be your next question, or would it be? So I guess that would be just. I'm trying to stage this so that maybe you have already have the benefit of that. So that would be a scenario where the customer already had a website, already had a logo, and maybe wasn't happy with either of them.
Right. Well, I think then the next step for you and I would be to talk about what it is you're dissatisfied with your current logo,
Right.
and your website, and why do you feel that there needs to be an improvement or a change made? What is it not doing that you would like for it to do for you or your customer?
Yep. Good. All right. So those are two scenarios. The other scenario would obviously be I don't have any kind of branding created. And so what would be the next question you'd have for me if I were in that second scenario, meaning I have no branding and I've got no branding. Let's just have a little bit of a conversation. My goal is to have this part of the conversation set up so that your portfolio ends up becoming the answer to this conversation that we're having right now. And hopefully, what I'm thinking here is, as we talk, hopefully we're guiding this conversation to where your portfolio ends up becoming the demonstration of, I recommend you do this. For example, here's an example right here. So my goal is to set up the portfolio so that it ends up becoming like the solution to this conversation. So let's go there for a second. I'm a newbie. I don't have any logo, and I don't have a website or anything. So what would be the most interesting question you'd have for me if I were that type of business person?
Well, I think that where you and I want to start is by focusing on what it is you offer and who your customer, your end user is, because that's going to help you and I determine a direction in how we're going to build your image and promote your service or business. So, for example, if you sell items and you sell more than one type of an item, is there any one specific thing that you feel you are better at over your competition or your competitor? And is that a focus? That may be a focus or a direction that we take and emphasize. If it's a service that you feel you're able to deliver better than your competitor, then perhaps that's our focus. So knowing who your client is and knowing what it is you're offering and what you want to emphasize or focus on in terms of delivering a message to the customer. This is what we do. This is why we do it. And this is how we do it. And this is why you should choose us over our competitor. So these are all things, knowing your customer, knowing your demographic, your target audience, and then knowing specifically what it is about your business that you feel you can elevate to brand in the mind of your potential customer or your current customer base, that just justifies and solidifies that you're the choice. You're the business they should go with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right. I mean, there are different components to every business. I mean, everything matters. Everything's interconnected, from your business card to your logo to your stationery to your web presence. All of these things work together to promote an image, a perception of who you are and what you offer, and how well you do what you do. So that would be the start. And now I've got some examples of some logo design, and of course they're not necessarily specifically your business or your type of business, but I think that these examples would give you an idea of how using things that we take for granted every day, dollars and images and putting them together to impress upon people who you are and what you can do. Would you like to take a look at some of those examples now?
Yeah, I think that would be perfect.
Okay. Well, this first example here is I live in Kentucky, and Louisville, Kentucky is one of our largest cities. Well, it's the number one largest city in Kentucky, and they were interested in promoting Louisville as a destination for those that live within the state and those that live without the state, presenting an image of fun and activity and nightlife and things to do. And this is a simple logo. It's Louisville, and Louisville Live was the theme. And with that, we also created three distinct but connected billboards and murals and bus stop signage that we could use to reach the public. And these are just some examples of what we were able to do. This example here, a little tongue-in-cheek, a little bit of humor. People often complain there's nothing to do. This billboard tells them to stop whining. There's plenty to do. Louisville Live. So, you can approach things from you can promote things from a humor, playful point of view, or a very serious and no nonsense point of view. This is another example of a billboard. You can imagine, couples on the weekends or throughout the week trying to plan what they're going to do. And so this message reaches, people every day. This was an example of a homepage for the Louisville Live website, which, again, displays energetic. Insert yourself here. The silhouettes were chosen really just to give an representation of people enjoying themselves and enjoying Louisville. And, of course, there's some images here about various things to do and sights to see around the city.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir?
No, that's good. I see it too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then this client also, to tie into their web presence, wanted us to develop, in addition to the web page example, a Facebook image and a Facebook profile. We chose, this is actually a skyscape of Louisville at night. And this is, of course, ties in, this little icon here, Facebook profile icon, ties into the images you saw on the billboards and the other promotional items. The client also had asked us to come up with a kind of a if you will, a retro or a vintage postcard example for Louisville. And this is the city of Louisville skyscape, and this is an example of, for you it might be a one-page brochure, or it might be a leave behind, or something of that nature with your business name on it and a message that you could provide and make available to your clients. So these are some examples. Others I have here. Do you have any questions before I go to the next?
No, I'm good.
There it is. Okay, this next example is for a coffee shop. Thrive Coffee Company. They were interested in promoting a kind of a gourmet, urban, and at the same time a cartoonish feel. And so I came up with the idea of the human being. This concept, well, if you're a coffee drinker, most people don't feel like themselves until they've had that first cup of coffee, or that first good cup of coffee of the day. So this was home of the human being, Thrive Coffee Company. This is an idea of what their logo would look like in black and white. That's always important, because you want to make sure that your logo translates well on a variety of mediums, whether it be print or whether it be electronic. And so this is the color example as well here, both with and without the human being. There may be some situations where that being may not be appropriate. You may want to leave him off there.
Yep.
And what we also did for Thrive Coffee Company is gave them an example of a homepage layout. This concept here was inspired by well-known artwork, Steel artwork. This is a kind of a different concept in a web page, homepage layout, but the client liked it, and it's different. And so this is just another example of a direction, or what you can do to make something your own with a little research and determining what kind of a feel, how you want to represent your company. So that was an example of their, and of course this is what it would look like on a laptop screen, a representation. Oops.
I actually,
Yes, sir.
I think that's good how you have all the variety there, and I think the user interface would be where, well, how do you use that multi-piece? Is that like one item, or was that to be delivered separately, that the multi-piece that we just looked at? There were like about 12 different images embedded in it.
You mean here with the coffee company?
No, I think probably it might have been that. I thought it was the coffee.
Louisville?
That was the coffee one, yeah.
Oh, the coffee piece here? Now, I want to make sure I understand your question. Were you asking about this particular client here?
Yep.
Okay, now, and I'm sorry, what was you want to know how this works together?
Well, there was another, that right there, yeah.
This here.
Yep.
What you see on screen here, this is actually a concept for their homepage, for their website. And so it was inspired by what's called the Steel. Well, one of the things that I like is me personally. Now, we always strive to. We cater, each business is unique, so there's no cookie cutter concepts. But one of the things I enjoy is minimalism. I believe in trying to aesthetically, I like minimalism, which means only using the most necessary elements within your message. Um, Also, distill is an art, um, is a type of art that I appreciate. And so I got this idea to use this piece, which is a distill artwork piece. But I thought, what would it look like if we used it in a web design? And so this was an example that I presented to the client as an idea. I also felt because of the colors, the yellow, the red, the blue. If you'll recall, I mentioned that, and of course, with the home of the human being, and also at the same time, they wanted to present an urban, gourmet, and cartoon type of an image. So still came to the course called Home of the Human Beings. We did these elements together, the character, the colors, and this unique concept for a web page. And then, so this was where this was created. Now it may not be something you would want for your business, but it just gives you an idea of the many different directions we can go. I have an example coming up of a business that Posey's Cupcakes. Their entire business is built on actually gourmet and cupcakes that you wouldn't necessarily think of, using different ingredients, and so you that example, like.
Okay, let's move on because I think the internet connection is affecting audio. So go ahead and show me some more of the portfolio, and maybe the audio might.
Okay.
Wondering if there's a way that we can
Sure.
configure it so that there's the audio is not so choppy.
What? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll try to step back from the mic and maybe talk slower and at a try to keep my voice at a certain level. Maybe that'll help. This is the Posey Cupcake logo. Their slogan is "Sugar and Spice with a Twist of Adventure." These colors were utilized because, again, their interest was gourmet and modern. Modern was another keyword they wanted to implement into their design concept. And so these colors were chosen to represent a modern and up-to-date, if you will, logo design for Posey's Cupcakes. This is an example. I told you that I had another example of a web page layout. This is the web page layout we did for Posey's Cupcakes. Very simple, but functional. That's the goal. It's user friendly. The user, when they go to the web page, they can find the address here. They can clearly see the menu. Here's the logo. And of course, they do cupcakes. Here's their slogan. And then their business hours and their contact number. And if you want to sign up for their newsletter, you're able to do that here. Of course, there's a contact page, not represented here, but so this is one example of another website page layout. This is an example of packaging. If your business needs or requires packaging with your label on it, this is an example of what we can do. This was a cup, of course. They also sell coffee. So you've got Posey's Cupcakes logo and their slogan on their coffee cup. So, and this is just another example. This is the logo here. So those are some branding elements that we came up with for Posey's Cupcakes.
I see. Okay, good.
And then this is a winery. This is a wine bottle label. Very simple, Knob Hill, blackberry. It's a more or less a table wine, just a simple table wine. This is an example of a package. Again, if your business requires package design for any type of a product, then we're able to work with you on that. Most wine bottles come with a hang tag. That's what you see here. This little this would actually hang around the neck of the bottle. And then again, here's the back, the front and the back label for the wine. So that's an idea of package design if you should need that for your business. And one of the other things that this is another package. This is for a tea. This is a tea box. Here's for a milk carton. This is for Mayfield Dairy. It's a dairy farm. And now you may not have a company magazine, but you may find a need somewhere down the road for a newsletter or some sort of a company handout or subscription type piece. This was an example of a Rolling Stone magazine. Now, I didn't actually create this for Rolling Stone, but it was something that I put together to represent magazine layout. This is an app should your business ever require or have the need for a mobile app. This is an example of a mobile app for Rolling Stone magazine. And of course, this is it placed on an actual phone. And of course, this just represents a simple table of contents and then a inside articles for the magazine. So this is just another example of magazine layout. This is a folder. When I mentioned earlier, stationery, and maybe you might in addition to stationery and business cards, you may have a need for folders and other items that might be important to your business or that you want your clients to have. So that was an example of some of the things that I've done and some of the things I can do. I didn't mean to leave out the brochure. This is a trifold brochure for a aqua excursions, and of course they're in the business of doing tours, kayaking tours, and so this is an example of what we can do in the way of a brochure. Do you have any questions, Mr. Brown?
No, I am. It's interesting to see even Spanish. That's awesome. Now,
well, what that is, let me just make sure. Now, I'm still pretending you're the client.
sure.
I know you know what it is. That is just some filler text, and it's actually referred to as lorem ipsum.
Yep.
And but it's a nice fill-in to represent. Now, any text that this client wanted to put in here, we just simply insert their text. But this is done for representation purposes. So yeah, I wished I spoke Spanish or Latin that well, but I do not. I'd be lying to you if I said I did.
No worries. Yeah, I know what that lorem ipsum is.
Right. Yes, I knew you did, Mr. Brown, but I'm pretending you're the client.
Right.
So yeah, and the client might not know. And I don't. And the one thing I don't want the client to walk away is to think that, well, gosh, he's fluent in Spanish or Latin,
Right.
because I'm not. But that's a brief, or maybe not so brief, um, presentation on what Newfound Studio can do for your business. And it all starts with working with the client to determine what it is uh, you want to promote, specifically the direction you want to go. And as important as any other aspect of this process is who your target audience is, your potential client, because that will also help us determine the message and how the message is presented.
Yeah, that's very good. Let's see, questions. Let's see. So, yeah, excellent quality work. My impressions, a very good eye to detail. I think you have expertise in color theory, which is obvious, and you're not afraid of that. It would be nice to somehow bring that out just a little bit more.
All right. Talk about color theory and how colors work in the design process.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
How your knowledge of colors will help them in their decision of on their colors of their brand.
Right. And how color can help to impact the message.
Yeah, and
right.
Yep. And you also had mentioned something. You had mentioned just branding in general. One thing I'd like to hear you say is to make mention of a like a style guide like thing. It doesn't have to be a full blown 20 page.
No, but I'm glad you brought that up, and that's one of those duh moments, because I'll tell you why. I actually created a style guide for Thrive Coffee Shop, or coffee company. So what I might ought to do is include that in my portfolio.
I think that would be really interesting. There is so much value to the market that you're going after.
Right.
Showing that you get what a style guide is and can deliver one. It's huge, huge.
And I want you to know too. And first of all, thank you for your positive reinforcement on my work and the direction I'm going. And I want you also to know that there's stuff left undone. There are some things that I want to tweak and do with some of these images. And also, I want you to know that I'm including a resume. And how do you feel about that? Now, I've got it hidden right now, but I'm planning on putting under my name here in the contact section a simple link that they can click on, which will open up this resume. Now, how do you feel about having a resume link there on the actual portfolio website?
If it is the portfolio is the real thing, the real key. If it's an employer, I'm more inclined to point an employer to a resume than I am a future client, a client per se. So it's a little bit hard to point to make it so that it's only available to one or the other. But so I like the idea of it being hidden, where you can kind of tell the future employer click here, and
Well, if somebody wanted to requested a resume and they happened to, well, yeah, I see what you mean. I'm working on this communication by design. I'm working on this. Well, it's going to be a. I don't think you're ever really done with your portfolio. It's a breathing document. But one of the things that I have in my background, I think I need to bring out somewhere, and it's probably a good place to bring it out down here. Is see, I have 7 years of experience working in radio. And what I did for Cumulus Broadcasting was the company I worked for, and I was a radio account executive, which, man, I worked with a variety of businesses, both regional, local, and and national businesses. Now, I think that's important, and here's why, because I think it demonstrates that I'm accustomed to working with businesses. I also assist them in their radio promotions and advertising, and I think that's an advantage for me.
yeah, I agree.
So and I think this might be the section to put it in. What do you think? Down here in the contact information and the.
Yeah, I agree that a little bit of background, definitely that experience, I believe, has given you some good real life experience that's very pertinent to this area that you're going after.
Okay. And see, because I want to keep this user friendly as possible, that's the reason I chose this template. If I were to build my site tomorrow myself, I would still want to maintain this simple. I mean, it's a simple scroll down. Everything's right here. My logo, my portfolio, and my contact. It's all right here. They don't even have to leave this page. And I like that. Do you think does that work for you?
Yeah, I'm here over an internet connection that's kind of slow, and so um,
I'm in McDonald's. It might be my end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using McDonald's Wi-Fi, and it's not always the best.
Sure. So that creates a little bit of a choppy experience.
Yes.
And as you scroll, you might be scrolling with your mouse wheel, and so that it makes it a little bit difficult for this to catch up. But if you did a screen at a time, I don't know if you. I don't know if you can just press a space bar or something. It will go a whole screen at a time rather than if you scroll, it goes like lines at a time. Anyways, let me give you some more feedback. One is just there on your homepage. These are minor things. I think package design might be 2 words, number one, and then let's talk is a little bit informal, and it definitely,
I am embarrassed because I want you to know, believe it or not, I proofread, and I do not know how I managed to miss. Yeah, package design is 2 words. You're absolutely right.
Not a biggie. Let's talk LET''S. That's just a little bit informal, though. Not a big deal.
How about if I just cut it off at whatever your needs, please contact me. How about I just
It may or may not be part of your style, so I just want.
No, that's fine. I see, and I agree with you on that. But do you think if it just simply said whatever your needs, please contact? Do not hesitate to contact.
Yeah, something like that is fine because your image is very professional, and that is a little bit out of character, because the image of having a backdrop of a downtown skyline, New York, I think it is, that's very, very formal. And so it's all minor. These things I'm giving you are just minor. By the way, let me go a little faster here. the communication by design, is that intentionally, the word design, is that, and by not capitalized? I'm fine with it if it's your intention to just capitalize the C and then not capitalize the by.
You know, no, it's funny you bring that up, because when I go out here and I look at these different websites, I've seen people capitalize the communication and they would capitalize the design. And then I see people, they'll do sub headers, capitalize the first word and none of the rest. Well,
Yeah.
I'm kind of inclined personally to make it, you'll notice my work, they're both capitalized. And so I'm thinking it might look better if it was capitalized.
You know, there's a lot of
Would you?
I just want to point it out, just not that it's flawed, but just that as long as it's your intent, because you can take a lot of license and style on your portfolio, and as long as all the license that you take is in the direction that you want it to go, then good. So that right there is a partial formal, partial informal, capital C and the others not capitalized, and that may be where you're headed, which is fine. So,
well, in our textbook, it talks a little bit about being professional, but not ever being too canned or too polished, or you know what I'm saying. I want to seem like a real person and very genuine.
Yeah.
And so when I originally did this, that was part of what was going on in my mind, because you're right, the grays and the black, these were all deliberate, because I do want it to be presented professionally, but I also don't want to create a cold steel feeling. You know what I mean? And I don't want to give anybody the impression that I'm bigger than what I am. I mean, you and I both know I'm a student, and so I'm not trying to put on I want it to be confident, but I don't want to necessarily try to lead anybody into thinking that I somehow have this long, I think you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, you're trying to
honesty and being real. I think that I've dealt with so many clients that if you're not careful and you come across as like the book talks about, don't make it sound like a pitch. Don't, just be a real person. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, I see your point. Let me give you some more.
Yes, sir.
Now, your own purpose is to go about branding, and now the message that I'm getting from your portfolio is a balance between your name, Roy L. Compton Jr., and can you scroll down to your logo? New.
Now this is the official logo to date. This is an item I've been using to place like in positions like this.
All right.
So this would be, does that make sense?
Yeah, and so what I'm wanting to do is your name in and of itself is a brand. The name of your studio in and of itself is a brand, and so to a certain extent, I'm wanting you to be intentional about whether you are promoting the brand Newfound Studio or whether you're promoting the brand Roy L. Compton Jr.
I want to promote Newfound Studio. I registered .com and .net. I have both of those, newfoundstudio.com and .net.
Okay.
So I want a brand Newfound Studio.
Sure. Okay. So now you use the words "my work," and then you also have Royal Compton Jr.
Okay.
In numerous places, and so I just want you to think that through a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. Instead of my work, what might fit better with Newfound Studio? What are some ideas?
All right.
Um, I see where you're coming from. To say my work, and now it's starting to put the emphasis on me as an individual.
Exactly.
And if it's Newfound Studio, then it probably should say something other than my work.
Yeah.
I'll think on it. Well, I mean, now I can't remember. Was the book discouraging or not discouraging? Are we in favor of or not in favor of using the word gallery?
I
Or should
I seem to remember that it was that there was definitely a context for that,
right?
and
Well, maybe this should, instead of my work, maybe it should just simply say portfolio.
that's probably better.
Yeah, because I mean that's what it is, and I mean that's simple enough, and anybody looking at this site would understand what that means.
Yeah.
And I think that they would tend to Newfound Studio portfolio. I mean, to me, it would be obvious that's the Newfound Studio. Yeah. And now, as far as my name, should I remove it and put something contact information, or I don't know. Maybe I leave my name as a contact, and then write this communication information here to represent me as the primary contact for Newfound Studio.
Yeah, I mean, you got it out there, and it is the way it's set up and put over there. It is competing a little bit with the brand,
Right.
Newfound Studio. So
I see that. Yeah.
you've got styling on it, and it's just a little bit competitive with your other brand. I think your other brand's awesome, and so I'm trying to let it bear the weight of the branding that's taking place here, rather than it being.
Let me tell you just briefly. Would you believe that these elements fell into place not by? I don't want to make it sound as though no thought went into it. First of all, this font, Newfound font, I love this font. I always have to. It's a starts with an H. H-E, Hell Swelter or Hell Settler. Or that's the font.
Okay.
Now, underneath you've got the 8-1 font, which is something I wouldn't overuse because it's so different and so. But anyway, I thought it worked for the studio. But let me tell you, I'm a Navy veteran, and I got the idea. If you know what the word newfound means, and so I got the idea of creating this. What looks like should represent binoculars.
Oh, okay.
So that's where these circles that are actually supposed to represent somebody looking through binoculars at Newfound Studio. And then I got to thinking, I'd like to put an element in there. Originally, I thought about a bird. And then I settled on a silhouette of a ship. And then I noticed that, well, you know what? That red elf in the middle, does that not remind me of a periscope?
How about that?
Well, in this whole time, I was not going for a nautical theme. I was not trying in any way, shape, or form to tie in my Navy days at all. But I don't know if it was subconscious or what. but I wound up with binoculars and what looks like a periscope and a shield.
How about that?
And that's how Newfound Studios logo came to be.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Is it really? Because I'm just glad you like the logo. I
Yeah,
think you would tell me if you didn't.
yeah, no, it definitely works.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's got cohesiveness and it's got a great story. The story I mean, even though it kind of fell in place, it's still, you could almost say it was meant to be, but it definitely has a good story to it.
You're exactly right. Something right. It does make me wonder if there was something inside me that drove me that direction, and I just didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, and even the elf, and that's not the only thing about that elf is exaggerated. Is of course it's larger than the other fonts, but that stretching of it was not intentional. But it does. It's reminiscent of a periscope.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, what other tips did you have for me today? Because I, I really believe that well, like in your email to all of us, how we're promoting this, and like I told you, I registered, and let me tell you, and I know you already know this, but man, you wouldn't believe how many domain names I've registered in the past year, searching and trying to settle on one name,
How about?
and finding a .com is not easy.
I agree.
And so one of the other instructors, I love the dictionary. I love words, and I decided on Newfound, and newfoundstudio.com was available. And out of all the about half a dozen registered domain names, I actually asked some other students and a couple of instructors, and everybody gravitated towards Newfound Studio, and that's where I landed. So the reason I tell you this is because we do listen to you guys. I think most of us do, and these things are. I mean, each little component starts to fit together, but you got to. Like I said, it literally took me a year to settle on Newfound. So nothing happens overnight.
Yeah, it's a
Is what
good.
I'm getting at.
Yeah, I get you. It definitely is a great brand, great logo, great URL. I really like it.
Well, and at some point in the future, of course, it'll be, I'll invest in the web hosting, and it'll be, newfoundstudio.com. But today, at least for now, until what I want to do as it goes to promoting this, whether it be LinkedIn, definitely I think LinkedIn is a must. One of the recruiting video, well, it wasn't a recruiter video, it was a webinar, about 30 minutes. And the lady was a recruiter, but she was talking about branding, and she was talking about getting the job, graphic designers. It was directed towards graphic designers. And she said she and just about any recruiter she knows uses LinkedIn heavier than any other site out there.
How about that?
Now she uses a variety of sites, but she said LinkedIn was the number one, particularly for recruiters. She said she didn't know one recruiter that didn't have a heavy presence on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely. And then, like I said, the registered domain names. And then this is for your information if you don't already know. I ran across an article the other day talking about niche markets. Now, I have not explored this yet, but according to this article, there are government contracts out there for graphic designers and web developers.
There,
Now,
a contract for web develop. Say that again. Designers.
according to this article I read, and it was talking about niche markets for graphic designers, it listed as a niche market government the federal government.
Yeah.
And so that's an avenue I never thought of before until now. So I'm going to explore some of that. Being a veteran, I feel like that may be any graphic designer that has a military background might want to look into. I don't know exactly what's available. And of course, that would be probably a good idea to look at state as well as federal government.
I think that's a very smart, very good tip, very good lead, and definitely I can see how the government would be very interested in in having contractors because they don't always hire employees. The contractors, because they have a pension plan, they usually, if they hire a contractor, they don't have the need to put them on the pension plan, and so I can see why they would be interested in that. By the way, I gotta draw this to a close.
That's okay. I appreciate your time.
And one more thing I wanted to point out, and that is, as we talk about this social media, and that would be, I don't know yet if Wix enables it to make it very easy for you to plug in little icons for your social media
They do.
connections, but that would be a very valuable thing to. I don't think they're on this page yet, but that would be a very.
They're not. Right. Well, and that's what the thing I was getting at too is that I think I'm almost at a point to where I could launch this site,
Mm-hmm.
but before I really exposed it, I wanted to make sure I had it at least ready. We always in radio business, we always encourage new business owners to have a soft opening before they have their grand opening.
Yes.
And so this is my soft opening.
Very good. Well, it's been a fun experience talking with you, and I've really appreciated your involvement in the class. You're an excellent student citizen. So,
Well, you know what I say, Mr. Brown? Great teachers make good students.
well,
Oh yeah, I've had you in two. This is my second class with you, and you're always fun. I just regret I wasn't able to make it to the live lectures, but I watch all the recorded lectures. But it was a pleasure to be able to actually talk to you tonight and have you look at my site, and I'm glad we got to do this.
yeah, I agree. This is a nice part of this class. I wrote the curriculum on this class, and this is my favorite part of it. Being able to do the one-on-ones with the students. So,
Well, I like it. I wasn't sure how it would go, but I like it, and I thank you.
yeah,
And
it's turned out really well. And again, you've been a great,
thank you.
great to have your feedback for me, and also I know that you were very helpful to other students, and so I appreciate both of those.
I think of all of us as one community of we all have a common interest.
Yep, it's very, very obvious.
Yes, sir. Well, you have a good night, and thank you so much.
All right, Roy. Thanks for your time, and I'll provide feedback in the assignment.
All right.
We'll go over, and I'll just list some of the things that we talked about.
I look forward to it.
Sounds good.
All
Okay.
right. You have a good night.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
I don't know how I...